Today is May 2nd. Welcome on in to Daily Cards Live here on ClavesOnline.com. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Bob Ramsey, and we are brought to you each and every day by Munganast St. Louis Acura and Royal Banks of Missouri. Rammer, we got Hall of Famers galore coming into St. Louis this week. A three-game series starting tonight against the Angels, Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout in town. But also, hey, looking ahead to this weekend very quickly, Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers in town, and the Cardinals have this for their giveaway. Bag giveaway May 5th. We'll talk more about that as the week goes on. But Rammer, before we get into all the ins and outs, the X's and O's of the game tonight, just the significance of having such players coming into town this week. It's not too often that you know that there are this kind of caliber of players, guys that are destined for Cooperstown coming in all in 1 week.
Gosh, I never really thought about it on those terms. I know Mike Trout is as good as it gets, and Ohtani is doing something that is truly special. In fact, nobody in the game, including the beloved Babe Ruth, has done. Babe Ruth pitched, and then he hit. And Ohtani is doing them both at the same time, and he's carving out a very singular niche for himself. Makes it pretty exciting.
Yeah, and we will see Shohei Ohtani on the mound tomorrow night, Wednesday night. He will be on the mound for the Angels. The bootleg and barbecue lineups not out just yet. Maybe by the time we're done with this, we will have lineups for you. But from what I have been told, Phil Nevin was considering giving Shohei Ohtani the night off tonight, giving him an extra day of rest before his start tomorrow. So, not sure if we will see Shohei in any form tonight in the game, but that'll be we'll find out about that coming up here in just a bit. Also, too, I imagine we're going to find out some roster moves that the Cardinals will make before that happens too. You gotta with a 2-8 road trip, with the way this team has struggled, some sort of shuffling has to take place, right?
The Cardinals don't typically make moves just to make moves. There's usually a reason for it. So I think we're a week away from something like that happening. Is it what would it? I mean, what are you thinking would happen?
Some movement in the bullpen. I know we just saw Taylor Motter get signed, so I don't know who you call up, send down. Alec Burleson still seems to be real high on the Cardinals list, but
even though he's cooled off,
right?
I think once the Cardinals decide on who their main 3 or 4 outfielders are, you could make a couple of moves like that. I still think Mercado and Motter are fine as the 12th and 13th, and with Kisner, the 11th, 12th, and 13th guys on the bench who basically never play. But that's not the way the Cardinals have approached it this year. They're putting a ton of guys on the roster who all want and need to play. And I think I wasn't necessarily against the plan, but I thought the plan would be once somebody grabbed the hold of a position, it would be theirs. The problem with that plan is nobody's grabbed hold, and everybody sort of stinks. And it has created a real problem. I think a bullpen move could be made if Matt isn't at least competitive tonight, and next time around could Liberatore take his spot. I think that's quite a reach today. Let's see what happens, because he might be really good. Although Rendon owns him. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, you mentioned the thought of Liberatore. I mean, Adam Wainwright's due to come back this weekend. That would
Woodford.
be
for Woodford, right?
So you're making two different changes in the rotation.
Well, unless you're not contemplating a 6-man rotation, are you? Well, let me answer for you. No, because you don't even have 2 good pitchers. So having 6 bad pitchers is a bad idea. So Woodford has earned his way back to the bullpen, and you'll put Adam Wainwright there. Then let's see how Matz does. I'm going to bet on Matz, but that's a long shot, I admit.
The few Angels do have seen Steven Matz a couple times, have some good numbers against him, including Anthony Rendon, 323 and
I
31
just
at
said
bats.
that.
Yeah, I'm just repeating four home runs and 7
We've already
RBIs.
established you don't listen to me.
I'm just reading the numbers that are listed in front of me here. Hunter Renfroe also a guy that is he's 3 for 8 against him in his career as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have guys on this team that have seen him. On the other side, nobody on the Cardinals has seen Patrick Sandoval in Major League Baseball. But 2 Cardinals saw him just back in March as Patrick Sandoval started for Team Mexico in the Team USA Team Mexico World Baseball Classic game that Mexico won. So you have Goldschmidt and Arenado who have had at-bats against him here in the last 6 weeks.
So there's some value, perhaps.
They've seen him. Yeah, that's how much do they remember? I mean, there's tape that you can go back and look at in that game. What I am interested in seeing, and I don't think it should affect anybody in any way, what is the media hoopla going to be like around Lars Nootbaar this week? There is a lot of Japanese media in town this week for Shohei Ohtani. I know that there is Japanese media in town to cover that. And the Cardinals are making Lars Nootbaar available to the media today at 3:00 in the dugout. So they are expecting a large contingency of
that makes sense.
of international media to talk to the international flavor of the month, Lars Nootbaar.
Yeah.
You know, it's a nice, it's a nice opportunity to get a few photo ops with Lars and future Cardinal Shohei Ohtani, his new best friend. They can shake hands, they can hug. I think I even suggested when I was on Sports Open Line last week with Matt Pauley, I suggested that they pause the game and have Lars run in from center field and give Shohei a hug at home plate before his first at bat. But I did see yesterday in baseball, you have to submit requests like that a full 24 hours ahead of time, or else you get a pitch clock violation.
These are the things that happen when you have a bad ball club. Your mind is left to its own devices. I just hope the Cardinals start winning just so you don't dwell on these ridiculous things.
They are what? They're what? 9 and are they 9-20 right now? Is that the what's the 9 at 10-19 right now? Rammer, I guarantee you, if the Cardinals were 19-10, I would still have these exact same thoughts.
Well, I don't know what the Claibs Online insurance deal is, but hopefully psychologists accept the Claibs Online insurance card.
So the Cardinals, you flip the calendar over to May. You have the off day yesterday. The longest road trip of the season is behind you. I guess outside of the one that, the London trip and everything that's going to have to go on with that. What kind of team are you expecting? Can we even get an idea of what kind of team to expect out of this tonight?
I have no expectations. I do think that the merry-go-round position-wise is not working. Not so much that it was a bad idea, but the players didn't deliver.
Yeah.
And I think if I were in Ollie's shoes, I'd try and reestablish the defensive identity that made the Cardinals that was the Cardinals for the last number of years. And that means defense up the middle. That means DeYoung plays and Edman plays and Dylan Carlson plays center field every day.
Yeah, so you of all of the options, you have Dylan Carlson rated as your number one center fielder? which I know we've talked about
Well,
before.
I have two eyes.
Okay.
It's not close.
Okay.
It's not close.
Yeah. And I think, I think it goes back to something I've said many times, where the whole Tyler O'Neill experiment in center was for trade value. And I think the other 29 teams in the league all called the Cardinals bluff on that.
It was an interesting try.
That's exactly what it has been this whole time.
I think you're right. And I think the revolving door with outfielders, you were hoping that guys, more than a few guys, would kind of hit and be battling for at-bats, elevating trade value, and then you could start to move pieces. The worst thing that could have happened was everybody failed.
Mm-hmm.
And now, how do you establish trade value for players? They're in a real conundrum. I think Brendan Donovan's got to play in the outfield right now for his offense. So you got 3 or 4 guys for one outfield spot's the way I see it.
Rammer, 2 interesting stories around Major League Baseball today outside of the Cardinals and Angels series. First off, who would have thought that the biggest series in all of baseball the first week of May would be Pirates and Rays down in Tampa?
Really
I can't wait to see what the attendance numbers are like for that series down there. But the only 2 20-win teams coming out of the month of April, they face off to start the month of May. Pirates and Rays down there. And then I would say the biggest story in all of baseball is who's DHing for the Phillies tonight. Bryce Harper, back 160 days after Tommy John surgery. This would be, I believe, the second fastest return from Tommy John surgery for a position player to be able to come back and play. He was slotted to come back in July from this, but he worked hard. He rehabbed to get back in the lineup, and I think the Riz Hoskins injury, I think, sped that up even more.
Yeah, our colleague, Dr. Rick Lehman, you can catch the Dr. Rick podcast every week here on Claibs Online. We talked about that, and he talked about how remarkable it is when you don't have to throw. It makes a huge difference in coming back. So he will DH. So what now do you do with some of the other spots? Schwarber has been the DH, and inexplicably to me, he was leading off all last year, which I didn't think was good. Now he's hitting third, and he's no better than the 7th best hitter on their team. Harper will probably move into that 3 slot. Schwarber will have to play in the outfield. This is going to be interesting how they juggle things around.
And does his appearance in the lineup spark something out of Schwarber? Who, is that something that's needed in that lineup? That other left-handed thumper in there, and also, I mean, with the injury like that, does that change the swing at all? Does that change how he's going to approach things at the plates? We saw last year, I mean, he was pretty much stuck being a DH for the entire second half of the season anyway. So wouldn't
you think that he has worked that out as he gets ready? I mean, if he couldn't swing, I don't think they'd activate him, or couldn't swing to his satisfaction. You would think.
Yeah. You would,
but we'll see.
We will. That's Phillies and Dodgers tonight. That's a late one, 9:10 start time here locally for that. Enjoy the game tonight. 2 lefties on the mound, Patrick Sandoval and Steven Matt starting for the Cardinals and the Angels. No bootlegging lineups out just yet, but bootlegging tavern out there in Shodo, they are now open 7 days a week, every day at 11 a.m. Head on out there for lunch. I know Claibs and I will be doing the lunch show out there at some point this month, so we will be we'll go out
with
there.
A special guest star.
I was gonna say, yeah, Rammer, come on by for that one, and come, just hey, be a little late to your Nate'll understand if you're a few minutes late.
Schmadio.
Yeah, just call in, do it over the phone. That's
right.
Fine. Yeah, people have done that before. Rammer, hey, we're also brought to you by your friends at Royal Banks.
Royal Banks of Missouri, where each and every branch feels like your hometown bank. And Royal Banks has been expanding over the last 60 years. St. Louis, East Side, St. Charles, and Northeast Missouri, each and every bank, and the service there is just for you. Royal Banks, where better service means better banking. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
This has been Daily Cards Live, presented by Royal Banks, Munganast, St. Louis Acura, Bootleg and Barbecue, and the St. Louis Cardinals here each and every day on Claibs Online. He's Bob Ramsey. I'm Joe Roderick. We'll be back tomorrow for Shohei Day. He's on the mound for the Cardinals, and we'll be here to talk about it right here on ClaibsOnline.com.
At St. Louis Acura, we have over 130 new Acura models in stock or on the way in March. Like the 2023 Acura MDX, get $1,500 in loyalty cash when you buy, or you can lease the MDX starting at $599 a month. Earn $1,000 loyalty cash on the 2023 Integra, RDX, or TLX, or you can save over $3,500 on our large selection of Acura courtesy vehicles. St. Louis Acura, better than ever for you.